Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Titletown Packers podcast. My name is Griffin. I don't even feel like doing this today, Bron. I'm Griffin. I'm joined by Bron. We just lost to the Detroit Lions. Fifth loss in a row. The Packers, it doesn't get lower than that in the NFL. Losing to the Lions. I don't care how many games in a row you've lost. When you lose to the one-win Detroit Lions, it doesn't get worse than that. And that's where the Packers are now. So that's good. 9 points against the worst defense in the league. This was embarrassing, and a very embarrassing day to be a Packers fan. Bron, how you doing?
I'm pathetic, Griff, just like our Green Bay Packers, and it was another pathetic game from our pathetic team that we just lost to the worst team in football. The worst team in football we just lost to. We just took their spot, it appears, because they had one win coming into that game, and like I said, Griff, I'm doing terrible. How are you?
Now they're one game behind us. Can you believe that? We're one game in front of the Detroit Lions. God, dude, I would just like to enjoy one of my Sundays for once because I'm getting real sick of this losing. The last time the Packers won a game, I was in attendance. So I haven't gotten to enjoy a victory Sunday from my couch since week 3. How much is it to ask for this team to win a football game? Oh my God. We are recording this on Sunday night. Typically we do Monday nights, but we just had to get our reactions out there on the record. So, I mean, where do we even begin with this game, Bron? It's just, what sucks is that they were moving the ball. Almost the entire game, the Packers were moving the ball, which is different from the other offensive struggle fests that we've seen from this team this season. You know, the Washington game, they go 0 for 6 on third down, 3 and out after 3 and out after 3 and out. That wasn't the case today. They were moving the ball, had almost 400 yards of offense. In the first half, they were 6 for 8 on third down. They were moving the ball. It's just they couldn't score points today. Every week, it's a new thing that goes wrong. Today, they couldn't score points. Yay. What's it going to be next week?
Yeah, Griff, it seemed that the red zone was just a total colossal failure from the beginning of the game. Things just did not go their way, even though, like you mentioned, it really seemed like they were driving on the Lions consistently. Every single drive, they got into Lions territory, fun fact. Every single drive, apart from when they kneeled it before half, they were in Lions territory. And they did not come out with points in the first half, which is remarkable.
That is remarkable. You have to try to do that. How do you do that as an NFL team?
It's unbelievable. It felt like we were dominating that game at times, but yet here we are. We just lost to this team 5 in a row, Griff. The Detroit Lions. It's unreal to even think about.
And this one is the worst one because there is no excuse that flies for this loss. You know, we lose to the Giants. Okay, it's in London. It's just one game. We lose to the Jets. They have a great young defense, and our pass protection was terrible in that game. It's going to be a hard game to win. We lose to Washington. They also have a great defensive front. You know, Taylor Heineke, he's a gunslinger. We lose to Buffalo. Well, they're the best team in football. There's not one thing redeeming about a loss to the Detroit Lions. They are number 32 in so many categories. Their offense is the one thing that they've been good at in some games this season, and they were bad on offense today. So that's not even an excuse. The only reason we lost is because we are a worse football team than them.
We're at least playing like it, that's for sure. It's weird to think about that. We started out 3-1, and we were concerned even then, as we all remember, but now it's more than concern. Our season is, we talked about our season potentially being over, but you can never really say that when they still have a chance. It's so early, but it does feel like they are completely on the brink and that any more losses are just detrimental to any chance they have of doing anything past December. So it really is tough because now you're starting to think about how they can just get one win and then feel that feeling again. It's just very difficult. Every single heartbreaking moment, it tears at your heartstrings each and every week. And how much more can we take? How much more can Aaron Rodgers take? How much more can Matt LaFleur take? What's going to give? When are we finally going to recapture that winning feeling? We've got a chance this coming Sunday against the Cowboys, but nobody even wants to hear that right now because we just lost 5 games in a row, and we have shown no signs of being able to win since that Week 4 win against the Patriots. It's just so hard. It is so hard to be a fan right now. What do you want to get into this offense, Griff? Do you want to get into what happened?
Yeah, but I wish we had eyes on the practice in the practice facility, in the meeting rooms. I really want to know what the coaching staff thinks is the biggest problem? Like, after all these losses, what are they coming out of trying to correct the following week? What is it? Because
that's
it's not
the worst part, Griff. They've continuously they keep saying, we've got to correct our mistakes. We've got to figure out why this thing isn't working. We got to figure out what we're doing wrong.
What is the problem?
I'm so sick of Matt. Why can't they figure that out? They know we suck. They know we didn't have receivers, but apparently they really tried their hardest to get these guys. But in reality, if they tried their hardest, they'd be Green Bay Packers right now. That's not good enough for me. I don't want to hear that garbage about they tried so hard to get DJ Moore or they tried so hard to get Darren Waller. And I had heard that they tried to get Darren Waller again at this trade deadline. I had heard that, but they didn't clearly try hard enough. And I don't care what anybody says. If they had the same offer as the Bears, throw in a 2025 seventh-round pick. Throw in anything. Get the deal done. If you want him bad enough, if you know you need him bad enough, if you know our season is on the line because we don't have the talent and we are injured to no end, completely depleted in that room, get that guy. Give up the extra seventh because what are you going to do with that seventh? Nothing, because we can't do anything with our third, fourth, fifth, barely our first and second round picks, Griff. What's the point? That's the problem. I don't understand it.
That's why none of this makes sense. So there's a report that comes out this morning, if you don't know what we're talking about, report that the Packers offered a first-round pick for DJ Moore, which is crazy, and I also don't believe that. It comes from, I think, Adam Schefter. Whatever. Talk about the reporter's
I don't believe
credibility.
that for 1 second. I don't believe it for 1 second.
Even if this reporter was actually told that from a source within the Packers, I don't believe that source is telling the truth. Because, so if you're willing to give up a first-round pick for DJ Moore, that means that a first-round pick, that's like a lot to pay for DJ Moore and that contract. So if you're willing to do that, then you are saying that we are not good enough at the receiver position this year, and we need to be in order to make the playoffs and contend for a Super Bowl. So how do you go from thinking that way to, they don't want to do it for a first-round pick? Then I guess we're just going to stay how we are at the receiver position. Because if we stay how we are, we're going to lose every game. We're probably not going to make the playoffs now. So I guess what I'm saying is, I don't believe that they would have offered a first-round pick because I don't think that they think the one receiver is going to change this season for Green Bay. I don't think they think that. Because otherwise they would have made a deal. They would have done something. Because they did nothing. They did nothing this offseason, first of all, and then we're 8 weeks in, and the receivers look like garbage, no one's open, and they still did nothing. So clearly, they don't think this team is good enough to contend for a Super Bowl, and they're not willing to give up any draft capital. So how are you also going to say that, we offered a first-round pick for DJ Moore? That doesn't make any sense, because if you're willing to give up a first-round pick, that means you're willing to address the position, which means you think this team can be a Super Bowl contender with another receiver, and then when the Panthers declined that pick, you would have done something else. But they did nothing else.
Then how can you justify doing absolutely nothing at the position and then feeling good about where your team is at moving forward? That's just ridiculous. This front office, I am so sick of it. I'm sick of Matt LaFleur's garbage. I'm sick of it all. I'm so sick of towing this line of just trusting this front office and trusting this coaching staff when Aaron Rodgers is the only reason we've won football games on this franchise for over a decade. And Davante Adams was a big part of that, obviously. And now they've done everything they could to make sure that Aaron Rodgers has nothing to work with on offense whatsoever. And now people are finding every way they can to blame Aaron Rodgers. And it's so perfect because it helps me realize that this front office has just been so poor because they want to draft and develop, but can't draft nor develop anybody. And they want to keep those draft picks, but they can't go and get guys in free agency or in trades. So what happens then? You have no talent, and that's where we're at right now.
No talent anywhere. I think the biggest thing from this game would be the injuries, because good God, did the injury bug bite us today, dude. Just every single play, someone was going out. Starts with Romeo Doubs, who catches an 18-yard pass on the first offensive play of the game for Green Bay. He injures his ankle, limps off the field, questionable return, never came back. It didn't look good. He got carted off. Who else went out in this game? Literally, name anyone. They probably went out. Aaron Jones went out for a while.
Christian Watson, I hate to be this guy, but
I hate to be that guy too. I know where you're going.
He comes back every couple weeks, and then he gets touched on the second opportunity. he gets crushed. Like, he looks like he just isn't fit to play. Like,
No, he
literally
looks like
gets
he weighs
crushed.
100 pounds.
Why does he get injured every time he touches the football? Like, it's unreal.
It's insane.
And this
It's
is look,
seriously
they're
crazy,
relying
dude.
on these guys. They look at who they've brought in this offseason. Romeo Dobbs, he has been good. That first play was great. But everything he does, it looks so difficult. Every move that they make with him, everything
Well, he's a
they've
fourth
done.
round pick being relied on to be a starter. I mean,
Exactly.
it's going to
I'm
be
not
difficult,
faulting
you
him
know?
because he's done very well in his considering all that. But when that fourth round pick is being relied on as a starter for this team, you have to have those expectations that he's going to make it a lot more seamless and a lot more smooth. But for a fourth round pick, yes, he looks very good. But the problem is he's a starter for us, and it's just not good enough. Everything is so difficult. He makes a lot of mental errors, and it's a problem. And then you look at Christian Watson. They brought him in, right? Second round pick. They traded up to get him. They spent a lot of capital on him. He can't stay on the field. And as good as he looks at times when he's on the field, he can't stay on it. And that's a major problem. And what did they make sure to do? Because we know we've got these injury concerns. They made sure to add the always healthy Sammy Watkins, who's at the ripe age of 34 or whatever he is now. 32. We're lucky that he's even been able to stay on the field when he has because he's already missed games and he looked like he didn't even know the playbook in this game. So where's the veteran presence that he's supposed to be bringing? It's just ridiculous. I don't know what to say. They've continuously, year after year, and we have now been saying this year after year, show after show, week after week, they did nothing to bring the receiver position up. And they lost Devontae Adams. And then they even did less than you would have imagined. We have to get a first-round pick at receiver. No, we draft one in the second round. Then we draft one in the fourth round. And at the very worst scenario, now they are both starting for us. Now they're both hurt. And now we have nothing because we did nothing at the deadline for the 49th straight year, 104th straight year in Green Bay Packers history. What are we going to do here, Griff? Because we're talking about fireable offenses every week here. It looks worse and worse each game we go out there, and Rodgers has to literally do every magical thing he can to put us in a position just to win a football game. If Samori Toure, the 7th-round rookie, doesn't make a play, we are so in trouble each and every week. What are we going to do here?
Oh, my God. You know, I hate being the guy who whines about injury-prone players. Like, that always bugs me when people in the fan base do that. But Christian Watson, like, it's just, every time he gets touched, I'm bracing myself, dude. I'm holding my breath like he might not get up. He might be down for the year. And, of course, I think of, like, his family and everything, but, like, it's like having a coworker who's sick all the time and is always calling out. Like, you just can't rely on him, and it's frustrating that our second-round pick who we are relying on so heavily just can't stay on the field. And he looks like he's made of paper, man. He looks so small out there. And it's kind of ironic when you think of we passed on George Pickens for Christian Watson, and George Pickens is built like a house, and you know, whatever. I'm not even gonna get into that today. That's for a couple months down the line, I suppose. Christian Watson, he does look good out there. He looks like if he could actually stay on the field, he would make an impact because on a couple catches today, he looked really nice. He's definitely the fastest guy in the receiving room. Sammy Watkins, so you can only have 11 guys on the field, right? I don't think Sammy should be one of those guys. I think it's probably a waste of a guy. I think even a sixth lineman, you'd be better off. At least you get some extra protection there.
I thought David ran a better route than any route Sammy ran.
David ran a nicer route. What does Sammy do out there that you couldn't do, Bron? I've seen you run routes before.
Yeah, you've seen me out there, and I must say, he looks like a statue at times.
He does, and he doesn't look like he knows the playbook, which is nice for a veteran.
Yeah, good thing to go to him on fourth down just for him to not make the move Rodgers was expecting. That looked like something Romeo would do. Or Amari Rodgers. Speaking of which, the guys look at just the guys that we were relying on these 3rd down and 10s, 4th down and 10s to save the game, save our season. It's Amari Rodgers, the guy we all wanted cut a few weeks ago because he's a punt returner. First of all, he's our punt returner, right? Second of all, he wasn't even doing that well. He's finally made a couple plays at receiver, but man, like we're relying on him. And it's Samori Toure, the 7th-round pick, who's made some good plays, but also had some drops and things like that, not very good moments. And then guess who? Alan Lazard, our savior and wide receiver number 1. He has looked so bad. So bad. The only time that he makes plays is when Rodgers literally throws him perfection balls, handoffs, right into his chest. And he even drops some of those somehow. It's mind-blowing. Rodgers looks so good when he throws him the ball. And the only reason that he's even getting the ball is because Rodgers trusts him. But he would not be throwing those balls to anybody else. And Lazard rarely comes up with those. And when he does, it's good because he's a contested catch guy. But he can't get a lick of separation in any route that he... I mean, he is so slow. He just does not... He's not good enough. He's a wide receiver 1. And the only time he catches the ball, it looks like some of the most unreal throws you've ever seen from Aaron, but it's just because he gets zero separation, and Rodgers trusts the ability to throw him the ball regardless.
Dude, think of Lazard's first career touchdown, Detroit, Week 6, Monday Night Football at home. You remember this? Rodgers throws him the literal drop in the bucket along the left sideline for the touchdown. That he was not open a little bit. That's his entire career right there. Allen's one of those guys where all the receivers, it goes for every single one of them. I hate having to hate on them as much as I do, but it's only because they've been put in the situation that they're put in. Romeo, I hate hating on Romeo so much because I want to love him so much, but he's a 4th round pick, also our wide receiver too, so I'm disappointed in his lack of production. Same thing with Allen. This guy should be our wide receiver 3. He should be our big slot, but no, he's our alpha. He's our X. He's replacing Devontae. He's getting the first read, and he is not good enough to be getting those. We say this every single week, but he's not. He makes plays on the ball sometimes when he wants to, but then most of the time it just looks ridiculous. And he's never open. I don't think he's been open once in his entire career.
They are so badly missing Randall Cobb, too. It's just like...
Randall Cobb
they can't do
so
anything.
Nice, man.
They can't do anything on 4th down, anything. And they're struggling on 3rd down even. Not today as much, but over this losing streak of 5 games, my goodness, they just can't get anything together in these places where Rodgers needs to go somewhere with the ball and needs to find somebody open. It's just there's nothing there. Rodgers has the only time we're converting again. Rodgers looked so good today when he got outside the pocket. He looks like 2016 Aaron, and when he ran the ball, even he was looking fast.
He converted a 3rd and 10 and a 3rd and 17. On
with
scrambles.
His legs. My goodness.
The 3rd and 17, he literally looked like 2009 Aaron Rodgers. Like, he was booking it, bro.
That's what I'm saying. And Griff, you've said at times he looks slower, and sometimes in the pocket he does. But then he comes out and he shows you that he can still run it. But he just hasn't done it much because he's trying to protect his legs because he wants to play. And he wants to keep playing at a high level for as long as he can.
And also, quarterbacks getting outside the pocket is where most injuries happen.
Exactly, and the last thing he wants is to lose one of his last few years of his career to injury. And the worst part of it is, Griff, yes, he threw some picks, right? That first one, a little unfortunate. The ball was a little low, hit the guy in the helmet. Things like that happen. Balls get batted down weekly, all the time, and that's happened to every quarterback. Unfortunate that it happened on the first drive when we're at the goal line, right? Whatever. Second pick, that was a tough throw, but he had pressure coming in his face, and he had to throw it from his back foot. And he missed David by a few yards, obviously. That was a very weird play call to put the guy that we can't barely have stay on the field at left tackle in position to catch a touchdown pass and get tackled. And that's just silly. And then, of course, he goes out for 4 drives in the game. It doesn't make any sense to call that play, even though it may have worked if Rodgers put a better throw there. To me, that's just such a risky play, putting your franchise left tackle in position to get tackled and obviously with the knee. It just makes no sense. And then the throw, you're talking about the throw to Tunyon. Bad ball behind him, a little short. Double covered to Tunyon, near the end zone after the Jair pick. Unfortunate, right? But you take those throws away, and then maybe that deep ball to Samari that was about 3 or 4 yards short. Those were his throws, right? Yeah, I would say he had 3 bad throws in this game. 3 bad throws that you want back. But then he extended this team's season. He extended the team's chance to win the game about 20 times in this game, both through the air, with his legs, getting outside the pocket. And they would have been in no position to do that if it wasn't for him. And that's all I have to say. Did he make some bad plays? Yes. That happens every game. They happen to be picks this game. That's okay. But he made so many plays to keep us in this game, give us a chance to win. That's more than enough, especially with what we've got around him on offense. Man, I hate that Aaron Rodgers is getting blamed for this game because it's been the same throughout the course of this losing streak. And the fact that he's the one getting the blame for some of these things when there are such more minuscule things going on around, that there are so many of those that everybody just chooses to ignore. Rodgers will do one little thing wrong, miss one or two throws, and we're still in a position to win, and he puts us there. He's the only reason we're in that position, yet he gets all the blame. Everybody says we should bench him, and it makes no sense, because if you put Jordan Love back there, watch that game. That would be something to watch, because he would get sacked and strip fumbled so quick, and I can't even explain it to you, Griff, but I know you understand.
Rodgers does so many things that I'm sure Matt LaFleur would tell you about that any other quarterback wouldn't be able to do. And he does things that make this terrible offense look better than it would otherwise. Just simple things like knowing when to throw it out to the wide receiver on a bubble when it's a run call. Simple things like that to get 5 or 6 yards because it's a good look. Those are things that he brings to the table. And he brings the arm talent. Oh, God, this game from Aaron, dude. Statistically, it's one of the worst games of his career. He only completed just over 50% of his passes. 3 picks. First time he's thrown 3 picks in a game since 2017 against Carolina when he came back with the collarbone. Arm was clearly affected in that game. So this was the first game healthy that he's thrown 3 picks since 2008, I think. He throws 2 red zone interceptions, first time in his career in the same game. So the first pick hits the guy in the helmet, pops up in the air, whatever, that happens. He's thrown a lot of unlucky interceptions like that. But also, Lazard, it didn't look like Lazard was open, first of all. Also, the window was closed, second of all. And, he probably just should have handed off. But whatever, that's a pick. The second pick to Bakhtiari, he would definitely tell you that that's probably his worst throw of the day. I agree. Just off the back foot, throws it, underthrown. Aiden Hutchinson is right there, easiest pick of his life. And then the third pick to Tunyon was, you described it already, a little behind him, trying to fit it in a window that was closing quickly. I think today was a result of Aaron really trying to put the team on his shoulders. I think it was, because I think he was thinking if he didn't try, so take the third pick for Tunyon, I guess is what really fits this picture that I'm painting. If he doesn't try to make that throw, which he was making throws like that today that were completed, right? He made a lot of tight window throws. He made a lot of throws outside the pocket, outside of structure that looked good. But you're right, he had a few really bad throws. And I think his mentality with that was he is going to try to carry this team, because if he doesn't try to make those types of throws, then the offense would just look like how it did against Washington, where they can't move the ball, can't pick up first downs. Because that's the type of quarterback that he is. He never goes full Carson Wentz, where he just has all these big-time throws, but also really these bad throws that he probably wants back. He always just has the big-time throws when they're there. If he is in a situation to make a risky throw that could be picked, he usually just doesn't throw it. That's why he never throws picks. And that's where a lot of people's criticism of him comes into play, is that he doesn't take enough risks. Today, he was taking those risks, I feel like. And that's why he threw some really ugly passes, because usually when a guy's not screaming wide open or it's a high percentage throw, he's not going to make it unless it's crunch time or whatever. But he was making those throws throughout the day today because he probably knows this offense stinks and there's no talent, so he's got to make these throws if they're going to have any chance at winning. And guess what? They got all the way down the field several times. Every single drive ended in opponent territory. They only punted once. One punt all day long. They had good offense for most of the game. It's just bad variance, I guess.
Exactly, Griff. It's so funny. Everybody who's yelling at him about these picks, those are the same people that are saying he's been too conservative over the course of his career, or even
it's the same exact people. It's the same exact people saying that, yeah.
I don't even know what to say at this point. Look, did he play his best game today? No, he did not. But he played really good in a lot of spots.
And he played better than the stats would paint, too, because I didn't look at the box score until well after the game, and his box score statistics are embarrassing. They're like Zach Wilson numbers. But I think he played better than that. There's a lot of plays that I can think of that impressed me.
Everything he was doing, getting out of the pocket and just buying time, that's the stuff that I miss from him, because he was so good at that when he was in his true prime, if you want to call it that. Even that 2014, 2016 type player of Aaron Rodgers' caliber, the way that he was being able to move outside the pocket, use his legs, extend time, get outside of the structure of the original play. And he had guys that were able to maneuver around the defense to find holes in the zones or just kind of beat their man and get open, go back to Aaron and catch footballs outside of the play. And that was just, you saw that today. And Rodgers is having to do a lot of stuff on his own, a lot of stuff with his legs, and it looked good. And you know he can still do it. I had always said, just because he's not doing it doesn't mean he can't do it. Because Matt LaFleur's offense was based on get the ball out of your hands quick. And a lot of the times this year, and even during this losing streak, they're trying to avoid the protection issues and by getting the ball out fast so they don't have to worry about Rodgers getting pressured too much. And it's all of those things combined. And again, today, when David goes out, the offensive line gets jumbled. Runyon went out at one point, the offensive line is jumbled. Everything is a problem. They can't get the healthy five out there. The receiving core is so depleted from an injury standpoint and from a talent standpoint as it is. Randall Cobb isn't out there. Alan Lazard missed a bunch of games. Christian Watson's been missing games. Samori Toure has stayed healthy. Amari Rodgers has stayed healthy. But all these other guys, even now Romeo, I don't know what his thing is now. He could be out for multiple games. Who are we putting out there? They have to start looking at guys in free agency. Odell Beckham is
They got to get Freifogel back in the building, man. They have really to, just to have the body out there.
They need anybody. But if they really want to, if they are willing to give up a first-round pick for DJ Moore, Odell Beckham Jr. just won a Super Bowl with the Rams. He's won a Super Bowl now. He said he was considering Green Bay. This week he came out and said that Green Bay is one of the teams that he's considering. He mentioned Buffalo, Green Bay, the Cowboys, the Giants. Those are the teams he mentioned. And we were his final two last year. We have to give him the most money. That's the only thing. I mean, and we can. We have the cap space this year to do that.
We are not strapped for cash like everyone thinks we are. The amount of comments that I've seen about how we could have kept Devontae if Rodgers wasn't making so much money, I don't really give these people.
Rodgers' money on the books this year is so low.
It's like $28 million. It's like $28 million.
It's so ridiculously low.
He is not eating that much cap space this season. Okay?
He has one of the lowest cap hits in all of quarterbacking at a high
His
level in this
contract
league.
is backloaded because the salary cap is going to inflate in the next few seasons. That's why his contract is structured the way that it is. He is not on the books for that much money this year, and we are paying quite a bit of money to a lot of other guys on this team. So maybe fans should go after those guys for being greedy. No, they won't though.
Griff, guess who they're really paying though? They're giving Zadarius Smith $10 million to play for the Minnesota Vikings because we cut him just so he could sign with our biggest rival and lead the league in sacks. I'm so sick of this, Griff.
God.
Griff, what did I say? You don't cut good players. Zadarius Smith is leading the league in sacks with Minnesota as they sit at 7-1. We're here at 3-5. Rashawn Gary is in a boot. He was carted off today.
3-6, buddy.
What is wow? I didn't even. Wow, we suck. I hate this.
We're bad, man. We're really bad.
We're 3-6.
It's not anything that you can just point to and say that's the problem.
There's a million things.
The coaching staff,
and they date back to last year.
The coaching staff has problems, but there's nothing they're being stubborn about. They've tried all our losses these past 5 weeks. They've been like different game plans. It's like last week we tried the run-heavy attack, and Rodgers played really well. Guess what? It wasn't good enough.
Oh, great news, by the way. They couldn't run the ball for anything this week either.
The run game. So this is part of the problem here. Matt LaFleur, he has to know how untalented this team is because every week he's asked about, why don't you just run the ball more? Why don't you just give Aaron Jones more carries? And every week he says it's because teams are giving us 7-man boxes, 8-man boxes, 6-man defensive lines. The Lions showed a bunch of times today. And he has no faith in us to block it up. We have no run plays that we can run against any defensive front. For good reason, because when you call a run against an 8-man box, you have to rely on Josh Myers not whiffing, John Runyon not whiffing, Elton Jenkins not whiffing, Yosh Nijman not whiffing. All of those things happening on the same play is really rare for this team this season. It hasn't happened a lot of times. When you're playing against a too high safety look, like the Bills showed us last week because they were up 17 points, and you call a run play, you're able to create double teams, and you're also able to have your interior guys, get up to the second level. When a team is loading the box in front of you, you need all of your offensive linemen to win their one-on-one blocks for the play to have any chance to gain positive yardage. And it's not going to gain much either because you don't have guys who are able to get to the second level. Running the ball is really hard when you have an offense with no playmakers at the receiver position, no one who is going to stress the defense out. So the defense, the only thing they have to worry about is stopping the run because we can't throw it even against advantageous passing looks, which we learned week 5 against New York. You remember that? Going into the Week 5 game against New York, we were talking about their cornerbacks and how they're so bad and they play so much man coverage, and we were like, oh, Rodgers and these receivers, they're going to eat. And then we learned that game, oh, actually, no, these guys are not good. And that's been the case all season. We can't run the ball. We can only run the ball against a light box. We can't throw the ball against any defensive look. And so obviously the defense, they're going to prioritize stopping the run. And that's what every team we've played this year has done. And it's such a tough spot to be in as a head coach, which is why I am not as critical of Matt LaFleur as a lot of other people have been this season. Because it's tough playing with this group of guys, dude.
And Griff, you're right about that offensive line because David Bakhtiari, when he plays, is good. Elton Jenkins has been serviceable this year. Josh Myers has not been good. John Runyon has not been good. And Yosh Nijman has not been good. And nobody else has been good. Royce Newman has been so bad they benched him. Zach Tom came in. He's been okay at times, whatever. Jake Hansen was terrible when we subbed him in at one point. They just can't find the right combo, and when they do, they can't stay healthy, and they're not good enough as it is. They don't have enough guys. Like, the line's not good. They don't have
the offensive line. It's what we were confident about this line, man. We were confident about the depth and the starters. And it's like everyone who's not David Bakhtiari has not been good.
They haven't been good enough.
People talking about Yosh Nijman. People got to be calling the Packers asking if Yosh Nijman's available. Can we stop with it, dude? He's a good backup tackle and he's an okay starter. But like
Griff,
people think that he's like David Bakhtiari's he's on his level. He's not. He's not someone you want starting at right tackle. None of these guys are, other than Elton and David.
And the worst part of it is, Griff, we cut Bill Turner for $4 million in cap space this
Good
offseason.
Lord. We talked about that. I swear to God, we were the only people on the planet talking about that in March. Why did we cut Bill Turner for $4 million?
Unreal, dude. I don't get it. I do not understand it. And that left us doing nothing at the tackle spot because what did we do to replace him? We drafted a Rasheed Walker in the 6th round who hasn't played for us, and he's he's getting inactive on game day, healthy scratch. I don't know what they just choose to avoid our biggest issues, and they create their own issues. They're trading and cutting our best players at the best positions that we need. They cut Zadarius Smith. They traded Devontae Adams. Would they have done that if he didn't want out? No. But they couldn't replace him with the first round pick and the second round pick that they got. They couldn't get a player in free agency. They couldn't trade for any veteran. They went and drafted a player in the 2nd round that can't stay healthy. They drafted a player in the 4th round that's good but can't be a starter in his rookie season. They drafted a player in the 7th round that looks like is going to be our number 1 moving forward. And they signed Sammy Watkins, who doesn't know the playbook, looks old, can't run, and can't separate. Neither can their number 1 currently, Alan Lazard. And I'm getting sick of talking about it, and we're going to have to keep talking about it because until they find a solution or do anything to try to improve that group, it's a complete colossal failure from an organizational standpoint, all the way up to Mark Murphy. All the way up. It's unforgivable. It is. And everybody should be fired for that if we don't do something about this season moving forward. If we come out of this season and we struggle with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, wasting one of his final years, it's time to clean house. Especially if he retires, you have to clean house. We've done too many inexcusable things in these final years of Aaron Rodgers and not have come out with a Super Bowl. It's pathetic. It is pathetic, Griff, and I'm fed up. I am fed up. I'm completely fed up.
In terms of this season, dude, I don't know. I mean, we're 3-6. Is anyone even thinking about the playoffs anymore? I know we are. I'm sure a lot of people are. It's still only week 9. It's funny, we've been saying that. And we've been self-aware of us saying it's only week X since week 5. But it is only week 9. There's a lot of football left. A lot of things can happen. A lot of weird things happen in the NFL. So I guess the season's not over. So if we were going to look at things that can improve, if there's something that's going to make this offense just all of a sudden play well, what is it? I mean, if they get one win, I'm confident that they can ride the momentum, ride the high, because they've got to be pretty down on themselves right now. They've lost 5 in a row. A lot of these guys who have been on the team since Matt LaFleur got hired, a lot of these guys don't know what it's like to be a part of a bad football team with a bad record, Like A.J. Dillon has no idea what this is like. Rodgers hasn't felt this in a while. But if they're able to get one win, I think that hopefully, this is just us talking in terms of hope, what we're hoping for. If they get one win, hopefully they'll just be able to ride that high. And if we beat Dallas this week, maybe it's going to be so much a galvanizing game that they're going to be able to ride throughout the season. In terms of schematics, there's not much. They've tried, like I said, dude. They've tried everything.
What more can they do with this group? They're not
can't
getting
do
any more
anything,
talented.
man. It's not a game plan problem. They're not handing it off enough. I'm sick of hearing that.
Oh my gosh,
man.
they've tried every which way to plan around the offense and
when you take out Rodgers' scrambles today, they had 66 yards rushing on over 20 attempts, 3.14 average. A.J. Dillon is not a playmaker.
No, Griff. He's just been
and Aaron Jones.
this year.
I want to find more creative ways to get the ball in Jones's hands than just giving it to him to run between the tackles because those guys can't open up lanes.
And Griff, the receiving talent is not getting any better because it's actually getting worse. The injuries are just absolutely depleting them, like I said. And they're not going to be able to do anything from a schematic standpoint any differently. They pulled out a lot of the stops today. They tried creative trick plays the last few weeks.
Dude,
Against Buffalo, they did that.
The Bakhtiari play. You and a lot of people have been criticizing that play call. I don't understand. I love that play call, man. This team sucks. You got to get creative sometimes.
The creativity
and he was wide
part
open.
Is fine, Griff. That creativity. Yes, I'm saying the play was open, but I don't like putting him in that kind of jeopardy.
Okay, yeah, I do understand. That's the
only thing.
But I'm seeing people.
You got to hit that throw, Rodgers. You have to make that throw.
I'm just seeing people who are like, they're trying to get too cute, basically. Like, are you kidding me? You want to run it up the middle for the 3rd time in a row for no gain?
Not
That's
to mention
been working
they tried
so
that
well.
on that same drive, did they not? Did they not
They
try
did,
that?
yes. They did.
Wasn't that a 4th
Twice
down
they
pick?
tried that. It was a 4th down pick.
Yeah, they tried to run it with A.J. Dillon, who has just had a horrendous season. I must
just
say.
give it to A.J. Dillon, everyone always says. Just give it to A.J. Dillon.
He played a great game in Minnesota, and then he just completely has not been
Even
good
in
enough.
Minnesota, he got stuffed on 4th and 1, remember?
Yes,
oh my
it's
gosh.
just not been good enough. And, man, he's been relied on last year so heavily, and he had such a good game against Tennessee in 2020. I mean, these things, you go back to these games that he had over the years, and he's been very good, and it's just, he's not that guy. I don't know what happened this year. He's just not been good enough.
Answer me this, Bron. Would you, so let's say that a team called us on the phone before the trade deadline and said, we'll give you a 2nd-round pick for A.J. Dillon. Would you make that trade? I'm only saying that because we spent a 2nd-round pick on A.J. Dillon, and it was silly at the time, and it's still silly. Because A.J. Dillon is what most running backs are. Like, most running backs they take what is given to them by the offensive line. There's only a few special guys. Aaron Jones is one of them, and it's honestly insulting that he's still splitting carries. And I don't know what was his deal, but he went out of the game, went to the locker room, came back out, and kind of stood on the sidelines like Bakhtiari did in London. Just kind of by himself, looking sad. I don't know what the deal was there. What was even his injury? What was it, an ankle?
It was an ankle injury, and he was running around trying to show the coaching staff that he could go, but they told him he's not going to play for the rest of the game. And he was disappointed about that.
Conservative coaching, conservative medical staff. I mean, I'm not really going to complain about that, but that was weird.
No, it's fine, whatever. But Dillon he's not been good enough, and objectively, I think you have to look at what he's done, and you just watch the games, and you see he's not that same dynamic player. He's even dropped a lot. He's dropped a lot of footballs this year in the passing game, and we expected him to be a big factor in that realm of what he does too. And last year he was so good. This year he just hasn't been as good. I don't know what it is, Griff. It's very bizarre. And look, we had him on our show. He was a guest on this show, Griff. We love A.J. Dillon, but he has just not been good enough, and it's unfortunate.
It's it's so different when we have a dynamic passing game, bro. It's so different when teams are playing us.
It's like you said, it's the way that teams are playing us. They know we don't have anybody who can separate it at the receiver position. Aaron Rodgers is forced to make these unbelievable throws in order to get the ball downfield, do things that are ridiculous, get outside the pocket, revert to his MVP 2016, 2014 level self, and it's just so hard to get anything going on offense when teams are playing us that way, where they're just daring us to throw it, making Aaron Rodgers do all the dirty work, do all that hard work, and the running game can't get going against these heavier boxes because all they're going to do is try to defend the run when they know these guys can't separate at the receiver position.
And that highlights the difference between Jones and Dillon more than it has any other year. Because, in years past, 2020 and 2021, the stats were not that different between them. But now it is, because teams are loading up to defend the run against us. And when you give Aaron Jones the ball between the tackles, he's able to weave in and out of the lanes. He's able to make people miss through his elusiveness, and he's able to stay patient and find the right cutback when it's there. But A.J. Dillon, the only way he's going to get around you is by going through you. And when there's 8 300-pounders in the same 5-yard area, he's not Saquon Barkley. A lot of people think he's Saquon Barkley because of the thighs, but he's not Saquon Barkley. He's not elusive. But when you're running against a light box and there's a lane and he's one-on-one with a safety, he's going to run through them, and then it's going to be a highlight play and it's going to be awesome. But when he's running against these defensive fronts, it makes sense why Aaron Jones he looks so much better this season than Dillon does. And until we actually threaten teams through the air, it's going to be that way, dude. I mean, even today, it makes you wonder, why do they not just give the ball to Jones more often? Why do they not make it a priority to get the ball in his hands? It's like, give him the Devontae treatment. What they did with Devontae for the past 3 years. Like, I just wish they would do that with Jones, because he's the best thing we have going for us, down after down. I don't know. They don't seem very interested in that. I assume they're trying to protect his health, because we're going to be making that playoff run this year. Got to keep him healthy for January.
Griff, the defense looked good at times. They made some plays. Jair had a big pick against. It's a good offense based on the talent they have. They have a lot of receiving talent. They traded T.J. Hawkinson over the past week, and they didn't look as good as maybe we would have expected, because our defense hasn't played entirely well at all times. But they made a few plays. But like I said, they were mostly stymied throughout the game. We only held them to 15 points. And again, the way that we play defense, if you hold a team to 15 points, we have to beat them. I mean, we have to beat that team, especially if it's the Detroit Lions. So, pathetic again, but there's really not much to even talk about. Quay Walker made a good stop on that fourth down. We were without Devondre Campbell. Rashawn Gary left the game at one point. A lot of penalties that, maybe helped contribute to the reason why we didn't get the ball back in certain situations or whatever. Look, I don't know. The penalties don't go our way every week, it seems. Like, we get a lot of bad bounces of the ball. And that's what happens on a losing streak. Things just don't go your way. You lose the turnover battle. You don't make enough plays. The defense did what it could, considering the circumstances of the offense, considering that they'd go on these 12-play, 13-play drives and come up with 0 points and have to go out there and kind of take on some of those long drives. And then they were doing a good job of holding the Lions to not getting scores by getting some 4th and 3rd down stops in key spots. I don't know. There's not much to say, because the story's about the offense, right? And the way that the receivers and Aaron Rodgers and the offensive line and the running game. But I don't know. What are we going to do moving forward? I guess, how do you move on from this game? We can't keep playing this way. It's so uncomplimentary. Nothing's working in unison. Nothing's working together. The offense and defense are playing completely independent of each other. It's very bizarre to see, because even in years like 2021, where we thought we need to play a little more complementary, we were still winning games, especially like 2019, 2020. We're winning football games. It's like 2 different teams out there. It's just so bizarre. It's so bizarre.
Yeah, I would love to see this defense paired with the 2020 or 2021 offense, because I think we'd have a lot better opinion of them. To me, they just look poorly coached, and I know that's kind of like a buzz phrase for people to say about bad defenses, that they're poorly coached, but It's like they obviously they have talent everywhere, and for most of the game they look good, but they just like they do some stupid things like these penalties. They get Chris Barnes is hitting this guy in the head, injuring himself, which gives them a first down on 2nd and 20. We've got a hands to the face or a illegal contact on a 3rd and 15 that extends a Lions drive. Just stupid penalties like that seem to happen every single week.
Where he's throwing a guy out of bounds when he's already across the white line on the outside, like just so stupid, Griff. It doesn't make any sense. Like some of these, look, and like I said, some of these calls, are they great? No. That one, silly penalty. The Chris Barnes one, he hit him in the head with his helmet, and he went out for it. He got hurt. It concussed him probably.
Instant
and he just
karma
came back.
on that one.
So many guys came out of the game injured. It's hard to overcome all that. And the penalties, like, we were making a lot of mental mistakes, a lot of mental errors. The penalties and all these things they start to really snowball. And it's a lot of these little things, like I said, they come together and they just really hurt us week after week. How are we going to go beat the Cowboys, Griff? Man.
Oh my God, how are we going to beat the Cowboys? I had no faith in this defense at the end, and I have to give them credit for proving me wrong because I feel like they're the least clutch unit in the NFL. But and on that last, what was it, 4th and 1 or 4th and 2, the Lions' last play before we got the ball back on the 2-minute, it was like we blitzed, and as soon as I saw Quay Walker blitzing, I was like, oh no, someone is going to be wide stinking open on this play. And the pressure got to go off, and he threw a terrible pass, and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe what I've just seen. That was crazy. And they had a 4th and 3 stop in there. And you know what? Like, we complain about all these little things that snowball, but objectively, looking at it, they held the Lions to 15 points. Like, this game is... my only notes for the defense is I have no notes on the defense. They played well. Because, I mean, what are we going to say about the defense? It's the 5th week in a row where the defense isn't the problem. Except last week, I guess they were probably the problem last week. But we're playing these terrible offenses every single week this year. And the defense, they're playing, we want them to play a little bit better. But still, it's mostly on the offense, just not scoring points and putting the defense in bad spots. And all three of his picks came in spots where we would have gotten the lead. The first two, we would have gotten the lead. We would have been up 7-0, and these picks were in the end zone. And then the third pick, we could have scored a game-tying touchdown, which would have put the defense in a much better spot. Because, like I said, if they were paired with a better offense defending the pass more, they'd probably look a lot better because they're really good at defending the pass. Go figure, they have talent in the secondary. Even when Stokes goes out in this game, which we didn't mention. Keyshawn Nixon is a great depth piece. Darnell Savage remains a liability. He gave up a touchdown again today.
Oh my gosh. Come on.
But Rudy Ford looks like a good player. I haven't seen, it's hard to watch the safeties from watching the broadcast. But Rudy Ford, he looks like a good player, right? How much worse can he be than Darnell? Because Darnell is giving up plays a lot this year.
Darnell, just again, like the tackling, you're starting to notice it because we're watching for it. He's just running into guys. Like, I don't know if you saw the one. He ran into Amon-Ra St. Brown, and he tried to, and he didn't even put his arms out. He just used his shoulder, and he
throws himself he throws himself like he's a torpedo, just like lunging at it's not even grab. It's just the opposite.
And then he's diving at the ground, his tackling thing is gonna be at the ground. It's so bad, Griff. It's so many things. It's just like between Darnell and then the Packers offense not converting on these fourth downs, and they're turning it over. Lazard dropping that ball, and then it's just like it's so many.
Which
things.
one? Which drop?
Which drop? The one where Lazard, that should have been. Rodgers put it in a perfect spot. Lazard had it.
Oh, that was one of
hand.
Rodgers' best throws of the day, man. That was beautiful. On
Lazard
4th and 3, it was going to be our third 4th down conversion of the year. And Lazard, we think he makes a great play on the ball. I'm like, oh, Lazard, thank you for making a play. And no, actually, he let it slip. Also, another Lazard almost great play. How about that? It was a 3rd and whatever on the slot fade to Lazard. He makes a great play on the ball on this one. Adjusts, catches it, and then he takes off to the end zone. And maybe if he didn't run like a tight end, he probably scores there. But he is tackled just short.
And then guess what? We didn't even score that on that drive. We did not score on that drive.
Then Rodgers throws the interception to Bakhtiari, targeting Bakhtiari. If Lazard scores there, which it was originally called a touchdown, no? Or maybe it was called down at the 1. But if he scores there, oh, wow. Feels a lot different, right?
Yeah, and Griff, not to mention, it's just with this offense, it's the little things again. On that last drive, we're trying to win the game, 2 minutes left, 3 timeouts. A.J. Dillon fumbles when he caught that ball. He fumbles and it almost goes
That was
to the
almost a
Lions.
disaster.
That was almost a disaster. Nobody wants to talk about that. But A.J., again, another reason why A.J. Dillon, he's struggled, right? He fumbles, and we almost lost the ball there because the Lions almost recovered it. Then, on the 4th down, Rodgers throws a beautiful throw, pressure in his face to Samori Toure. Toure fumbles the ball, and that's almost a disaster. Rodgers was keeping
That
us
looked like a
afloat on that
7th-round
drive.
rookie out there, didn't it? That looked like a 7th-round rookie mistake by Toure. But Toure,
Wow.
I'm really impressed with Toure. And if
No,
he
he's
keeps
been
developing,
good.
he could open up this offense maybe. It looks like Rodgers likes throwing to him. And that
And it
4th
looks
and
like
3
he
play,
can get downfield a little bit at least.
yeah,
none of
more than
guys
these other
can.
guys. Yeah. And that was a great adjustment by him because Rodgers kind of put it in a spot where he could only get it because he didn't have that much separation. But Rodgers put it in a spot where only Toure could get it if he adjusted correctly, and he did, and it looked really cool too because it kind of like fell backwards as he caught it, but then he gets up, doesn't know what to do, freaks out, and then he gets the ball just ripped out of his arms, and that was I thought that was going to be the last play of the game because I thought the Lions had recovered it, and I was like, wow, what a way to go out, what a way to lose this game. But no, it would actually end. Our final play of the game would end up being maybe more embarrassing because it was a throw to the back corner of the end zone where there was no receiver. So I don't know which I would have preferred.
Especially, it's the summation of our whole season. Rodgers throwing to a veteran, and even he can't get on the same page with Aaron Rodgers in a 4th and 10 situation. Unreal.
Throwing to the Devontae replacement. If anyone's the Devontae replacement, it is Sammy Watkins. This team is now 3 of 15 on 4th down this season. Worst in the NFL. How do you do that?
I mean, man, some of these play calls from LaFleur have been pretty terrible. But again, like you mentioned, not much to go out there and play with as a scheme play caller. So I don't know what to say. How much
3
more
of
can we
15.
expect?
I mean, listen to this, Bron. So this season they've gone for 15 4th downs, and they've converted 3 of those.
That's really crazy.
How do you do that? How do you even try
That's
to do
hard
that?
to do. Because
How do
they're
you
usually
fail to
4th and
convert
1.
on 12 out of
They're
15?
usually short, Griff. They're usually 4th and 1,
They're 4th
too.
and 1, 4th and 3. Like, what are you
4th
doing?
and inches even.
You have
I know
to
Cobb
really
has one
try
of
to do
those.
that.
Randall Cobb has
God.
one of those at least.
Yeah, Randall Cobb. I mean, if we had him. Well, think about that, Bron. We lost him halfway through the Jets game. We were on a 1-game losing streak at the point where he went out. Maybe he makes a bigger difference than we think.
No,
Well, I know.
Griff, I've been saying.
I know you think he makes a big difference.
He makes a massive difference. It would be really nice to get him back.
Yeah,
for this
getting
game against the
Cobby back would
Cowboys.
actually be huge, man.
That would
You
be a
think-
massive
Wait, is his
thing.
return window even open? Because he's on IR. I don't think he can play this
Has
week.
it been 4 weeks yet, dude? I really hope so.
No, he went on IR week. Well, Jets was 6, so week 7. So I think he can come back against the Titans, maybe. Could be wrong on that one, but I think it is against the Titans. So he's going to be out this week. This week against Dallas, dude. That's going to be fun, man. It's going to be
Is it?
fun. No.
We have to win that game, Griff. It's so.
We have to, yeah. I mean,
the problem is-
we're staring at 4. We're staring at 3 and 7. That's a
Okay.
game worse than the run the table year.
That's the thing, Griff. Right now we're sitting at 3 and 6. We have an 18-game season now, unlike we did in 2016. So 3 and 6 is kind of the you can get away with saying run the table at this point because you've got that extra week to play with. So we can probably lose 2 more games, maybe, and make the playoffs 9 and 8. But I said this, Griff. I've said this a lot. 10 used to be if you get to 10 wins, you're going to make the playoffs 99% of the time in the NFL. Sadly, with the 18th week, 11 is the new 10. You need 11 to guarantee you're a playoff spot, right? You need 11. They need 10, probably just to feel good about maybe trying to get that 7th wild card now. So there's some things combining, right? That used to be the case because when you had 10, there was only those 2 wild card spots. Now you've got the 3 wild card spots, but now you need kind of 11 wins to feel good about it. So maybe it is around the 10-ish spot. Green Bay wants to feel good. Again, we have 3 wins, so this is quite the pipe dream. But we're talking about getting in there with
3
10.
wins.
Talking about getting in with 10. We have 3 wins.
We're
8
talking
weeks
about
left.
getting 10 wins. 10 wins are going to feel good. We have 3.
So there's 8 games left, Griff. If we can win these next 2, which Rodgers said, we got to win these next 2, and then it's going to look a little different. So we have to win one. Let's try to win one game, guys. Let's win one football game. If we could do that, guess what our record will be? 4-6. With
4-6.
7 to play.
Yeah.
And then you got to get, if we can get to 9-8, you're in the mix for that 7th wild card spot. So is it over? No, because it's so early only. We do have 6 losses, though, and if we had 6 losses at any point in any other year, we'd feel like it was over. But it's just so early that you never know what's going to happen. Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. He's played very good. He played really, really, really good against Buffalo. He played good against the Lions, but he had those bad throws that turned his decent outing into a pretty bad outing. I feel strongly that Aaron Rodgers is moving forward going to play at that MVP level because he was there in Buffalo, and I felt like he was even there in Washington. But I just think moving forward, he's going to be that guy that's going to have to carry us, and I think he can. We just need to put something around him. We need to start playing a little bit better, and I feel like we can do something here. We just got to get hot.
This is the flaw with people who think that Rodgers is the problem. And these people, sometimes I feel like I'm constructing a straw man when I bring up stuff like this, but these people exist. I'm not crazy. A lot of these people exist. Check Twitter at halftime of any game these past 5 weeks, and you will see these people. Even blue checks on Twitter. But the flaw with this argument that Rodgers is the problem with the offense and it would be much better with the game manager in there is that we've seen Aaron play really well as a game manager at Buffalo last week. And guess what? We lost by 10 points. We were down 17 for most of that game. It didn't matter. It doesn't matter how well he plays.
And we ran the ball at a ridiculously high level against Buffalo, and that didn't matter either.
No, nothing matters because this team sucks. And these people who want to clamor for putting Jordan Love in, again, I'm not crazy. These people exist. Check Twitter at halftime. These people are real. Put Jordan Love in. Have you watched Jordan Love play football? Because Rodgers today, what I described as his Carson Wentz game, where he's making big time throws but also turnover worthy plays. That's every Jordan Love series. The training camp, Bron, do you remember this kid? He makes impressive throws, sandwiched in between the worst passes you've ever seen. You don't think Jordan Love is going to make bad throws if he's in this game? He's not going to come in and play like Jimmy G.
Think about Jordan Love trying to manage these rookie receivers like Aaron Rodgers does, where he has to basically give them the playbook between each play. Imagine Jordan Love in that spot. Imagine Jordan Love putting look, dude, I don't even want to put myself in that spot. But Jordan Love, let's just say he wouldn't even be able to get outside the pocket without getting strip sacked at least 3 times a quarter, because he's just not going to be able to have that kind of awareness with the way the offensive line is playing, the lack of receiving talent getting open. What is he going to do? It's just like I don't get it. Look, people just want to hate on Aaron Rodgers. I get it. It's fun. People hate Aaron Rodgers. People love to hate Aaron Rodgers. Enjoy that.
The tattoo.
Oh my gosh. Look, whatever you have, people have opinions against him in a personal way, in his personal life. He is the MVP quarterback of this league. He is the best quarterback of all time. He's 38 years old, about to be 39 in a month. Get a grip, people, okay? He's fine. He's playing at a high level. There's nothing around him. He's the best quarterback of all time. He's playing elite still, even in this situation. He's making some ridiculous plays. Did he play great today? No. But did anybody else play great today on offense? Absolutely not. But he's getting all the blame.
He is making throws still this season that impress you. The arm talent is there. This is not 2015 Peyton Manning, where like the arm,
no drop
arm
off,
strength
Griff.
falls
no
off. He looks like a different player. He looks like the same player. The highs are still just as high. He makes throws that make you say, "Wow, how'd he do that?" It's not even like 2018, because in 2018 there wasn't a whole lot of that. He looks like the MVP still. You know, there's a lot more bad, but I think you can chalk that up to he's having to go to his third read on every play. If you think that he has just all of the sudden turned into a bad quarterback, then I don't know what games you're watching. because he looks good out there most of the time. He had 3 throws today that I would call bad throws, but that's going to happen when you're playing with rookies and you're trying to you're playing hero ball, which he did today, and I've seen people criticize him all season for playing hero ball, and he hasn't played hero ball for most of this year. Hate to break it to you, he hasn't. Today, he did play hero ball, because guess what? He had to. The run game wasn't working. The last drive of the game, the literal, game-winning drive opportunity that we had, where we take the last set of downs there, which were 3 throws that made you scratch your head, right? Or 4 throws, I guess, that made you scratch your head, right? Someone on Twitter said that was hero ball, what we just saw. That was hero ball. Are you kidding me? Yeah, it was hero ball. What do you mean? Yes, that is hero ball, because he is trying to be the hero. That's the only option we have. What do you want him to do?
Because
Run an
otherwise
RPO?
what are we going to rely on Amari Rodgers to be the hero?
You want to throw him? What are you saying? He's got to trust the scheme. Mean? He's got to throw a screen pass. He's got to run an RPO. He's got to hand it off. What do you want him to do? It's the game-winning drive. There's 30 seconds left. It's 4th down. Yeah, he's played hero ball. He's taking a shot at the end zone to win the game. What are we doing here? And these people want to put Jordan Love in. Jordan Love's entire... People think that if we put Jordan Love in, he would just run the Matt LaFleur offense, and it would be peak offense, and it would be beautiful, and it would look like Kyle Shanahan in San Francisco's best years. But Jordan Love is not Jimmy Garoppolo. At his best, he is Jimmy Garoppolo. But
Jordan Love looks like a rookie, and he's in his 3rd season, Griff.
He is. He's everything. The best parts of Jimmy Garoppolo are Jordan Love's highest points, and then he has also Carson Wentz's worst throws. I don't know if that makes sense, but he's like the worst parts of Carson Wentz, but the best parts of Jimmy Garoppolo. That's the quarterback that Jordan Love is, and if you put him in, it would be a disaster.
Jordan Love looks like Aaron Rodgers if he was throwing with his left hand.
Oh, and I'm thinking about now, Jordan Love, really good kid. But just this fan base, I can't stand it this season. This is the worst season to be a fan, I think. I can't even go on Twitter, Bron. You know this. I lose my mind on Twitter because these blue checks just drive me up the wall, and everyone has a take. No one's rational. I think that's going to do it for today. If you haven't heard, we do have a new podcast out called Packers Therapy. You can find it wherever you find your podcasts. We reached a cool opportunity with a podcast network, so we've got that new show coming out. You can call in, actually, if you want to submit your takes, if you want to get all riled up like I have here. You can call the number 920-430-0711, or you can leave a voicemail by dialing that number, or you can send an email to packerstherapypod@gmail.com, and whatever you send in there, we will discuss on this week's episode of Packers Therapy. We only have one episode of that show. New episode will be coming out this week, so stay tuned for that. New episode of this podcast today in Titletown. We are going to keep this podcast around. We will be back, so make sure to turn on notifications. Follow us on Instagram at Today in Titletown. Follow me on Instagram at AllDayPackers. Follow Bron on Instagram at Lambo.Leapers. This was I like this game day. I like this game day recording that we did here, man, because we usually wait till Monday night and everything's settled. I'm not as heated. I'm not as in the moment. I'm not as passionate. I think the same goes for you, Bron, and I think our listeners caught the best of both of us tonight.
Yeah, we're definitely a little more emotional in this one, but again, there's a lot of reason for it here. We're sitting here at 3-6, which still I haven't wrapped my mind around, and the urgency is high. It's time to start. It's put up or shut up time here. We're getting to the point where if we lose 2 more football games, our season is officially over, right? So now we're talking about we will not make the playoffs. And it's tough to even put.
And we've got 2 losable football games coming up.
Oh my gosh! And the worst part of that is, Griff. Yes, we've got 2 losable games coming up. We could have won each of the last 5 games that we've lost, Griff. You feel like we could have, and that's the thing that hurts. We started out 3-1. We could be 8-1. We could be 6 and whatever. I don't care. We're not, and we're stuck at 3-6. It's time to start just winning.
Hopefully it'll be a win. Hopefully it'll be fun. We're saying that for is it the 7th week in a row now? We've been saying that, and yeah. So this team, It's not getting any easier, that's for sure. You think it would get easier, but it's not, because every week I continue to have hope that they're going to turn it around. And every week they prove that, no, they're probably not going to do that this year. So here's for another week of that hope, which will, in the end, hurt me. But thanks for listening, everyone. Go Pack, go.
Thank you for listening, everyone. As always and forever, despite our troubles and our struggles, go Pack, go.